Hey guys, NV here, and in this video, I'm going to show you another cool photo effect. Now, I might have thrown you off because I wasn't at the home screen. So what I want to do here is go ahead and make a couple of folders. I'm going to alt click on this right here and name it rainfall. I'm going to make another folder. I'm just going to alt click, click and drag underneath there. Drag it in there. Call this large. Duplicate that one. Move that out. Call this medium. And small, just like so. And what I want to do is a couple ways of adding this effect that I'm thinking of. One is adding a layer right here, just an empty layer, going to edit, fill, and you can add a 50% gray and click OK. But I don't like doing this because you can't change the color. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go down the fill and adjustment icon right here and add solid color and add my own gray. And I'm going to go ahead and keep it like it is. Right click, convert to smart object. Now what I want to do is go to filter, render, fibers. Okay. And I want to play around with this. Vibrancy, I'm going to say about where it was actually 25 and then 45, I think. Yeah, oops. Yeah, I'm going to keep it at 45 just like it was. Click OK. Now we do have it going outside the top up here, but it's kind of showing where it's happening here, and I don't like that. I'll fix that in a minute. So now I want to go to filter, blur, motion blur, and yeah, I think it was good where it was actually. Rainfall could be 80, maybe 85. I don't know. Let's just keep it here and see how we like it. Click OK. And now what I want to do is scale this out of the document. So, oops, Control T on the keyboard, click OK. And I'm going to scale this out just a little bit, just a little, just so it doesn't have that top thing happening. And now what I want to do is go down to the fill and adjustment icon again, go to curves, and I want the darks here all the way to the left, drag up. Let's clip that into the rain layer, okay? And I'm going to drag this all the way up. And by the way, yes, I just said rain. I'm making another rain layer effect. The one I did before was noise, using noise. This one's going to be fibers, and you'll see why. And I'm going to click it, keep it just like it is. And now what I want to do is select both of these. Actually, let's check the document first. So we are outside the document, but just a little. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to bring this, select both of these, hold the Alt key, click, hold, drag up to medium. Okay. And I'm going to scale the medium up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hold Control, tap the T key. I'm going to scale this one up significantly, actually. Well, not too far, but a little bit, just a little. Not like that, right there. Something like that. Click OK. And let's go ahead and select both of these. Right click and convert to smart object. Now you can see it. And I want to make sure I name this the same as that. It bugs me if I don't. So, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one as well. Back this one here. I'm going to do the same thing up there. Hold the Alt key, click and hold, drag up to large and release. And I'm going to right click on that one, convert to smart object. I'm going to name this one large. I'm going to zoom out. Actually, yeah, let's keep it there. Control T, and we're going to scale this up a great deal, insane amount. Alt Shift, click this top handle, one of the top handles, drag up, about like that. And I might drag this out a little bit. I'm going to zoom in and see how it looks. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And click OK. It's very huge, and I'm aware of that, but it's intentional. Now what I want to do, select all three of these folders, go to blend mode, select screen. And now you can see the rain, okay? So they're all blended. You can see the differences. Have the small and the medium. Medium's not quite as big as I would like, so I might scale that out a little more. So I'm just going to scale that up a little bit. I might actually rotate this as well. Why not? Let's see what that does. Click OK. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I actually like that versus the other way. My perfectionist can't be happy regardless of what I do. So I rotated it. I'm going to keep it that way. Now we have some nice rain happening here. Now this is extraordinarily huge outside the document, so we need to crop that. So I'm going to right click on that, say rasterize layer, hold control, tap the A key, this gives us some marching ants, and go up to image and crop. I'm going to crop it outside the document, outside the boundary, so it's not exceeding outside the document. See, and that's what we want. The medium is a little bit, but I don't think it'd be enough to really interfere with saving the document. Because for me, in most cases, for other people as well, if it exceeds over 2 gigs or 2 gigs, it will not save if it's over 2 gigs, I believe. So, and it certainly would have, I believe. So what I want to do now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and hold Control, Alt, Shift, tap the N key one time, and then tap the E key. That merges our layer together. See that? Okay. I'm going to name this merged. I'm going to put that in a folder, Alt Shift key. I'm going to call this blur, just like so. Right click on that, convert to smart object. Select the merge layer, go up to filter, blur gallery, iris blur. And what I want to do is zoom out here a little bit. Select the very top of this one. I'm going to hold the shift key, because if I don't hold the shift key, see if I move, now if I hold the shift key, you get a perfect, it stays in place. I'm going to move this up a little bit. I might zoom out a little bit more. Move this up just a little. And I'm going to hold shift key again, click the side here, and drag out. About like that right there. Somewhere around there, maybe back in a little bit. Zoom in, back to the photo. And I want to take these little dots here and I want to drag them down. Okay, just a little bit. I don't like seeing, again, if it were out, I don't like seeing where the blur ends. That bugs me to no end. So I want to drag those in a little bit out there. And here's a trick for you. If you hold the Alt key and click on one of these dots, you can move them independently without the others moving, okay? It helps you fine tune other effects or other blur without really having to worry about the other ones moving. I'm going to move them in independently, holding the Alt key, just dragging them in a little bit. I like that. Do the same with the bottom. I'm just dragging it in just a little. Their dress here. Just want to see. About right there. And I'm going to do the top as well. Just a little bit. I want to keep some of that rain falling on there. Up here. Zoom out. See how that looks. Not too bad. I'm going to take these handles again. I'm just going to drag them in. Trying to get a view, an idea of how I want this. I think that looks good. And now what I want to do is, okay, this is a little crooked and that bugs me. I want to fix that. Don't like it being crooked. I'm going to actually zoom this out a little bit more. Whoops. A little bit. Take this and check it out. About right there. I think that looks good. And it's at 15 right now, and that's fine. Another thing I want to do is select this here. And you could tell for more accurate bokeh. I call it bokeh. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's how I say it. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. And this creates a layer mask, as you can tell if I hover over it. See that? And as you says, hold M, tap the M key, and that gives us a preview. That looks pretty good. So what I want to do is go to noise and disable that. Because if I added noise to this, it only adds noise to the blurred areas, but nothing else. And I don't like that, not for this specific effect. I'm going to disable it. There's nothing in motion blur. Effects, I want to crank up the light bokeh a little bit. If you notice in the highlighted areas there, it kind of exposes it, makes it a little bit brighter, at least in that one area. And I'll say about 35. Color, I don't think I'm going to do anything with, so I'm going to leave it alone. Light range, I want to bring this down significantly, and now it affects the other areas. See that? I want to put that about 8. And the far right and the whites, I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Look at that. See that? But I want to make this about 244. Just a little bit of light happening, I think. Think about 244. Somewhere around there. I think maybe 240. I don't know. Let's crank up the blur to about 25. Let's see. That's something we like. We'll zoom out here. And by the way, here's another tip for you. If you hold control, tap the H key, that hides that the options here and allows us to see it much better. 25 or 20. Just trying to get an idea of what I want here. I'll keep it about where it is, just like it is. And I'm going to click OK. Let that go ahead and apply to the filter, just like so. See that? That looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is add another folder. I'm going to Alt-click on this folder, and I'm going to name this gradient map, just like so. I'm going to go down to the fill and adjustment icon, click on gradient map. And what I'm going to do is select this gradient right here, and I'm going to open it up by clicking that gradient box. And I'm going to select this far one, and the location of this is 5. So you just click and drag it over. Okay. And to add another one, I've mentioned before, you just click. Okay. And somewhere in a blank area underneath the color box bar here. And I got it set to 5. And here's the color to that right there. Okay. And this one here is set to 40 location. Well, it's 39, but I won't even number here. And there's the number to that value. And the far right here, here's the value to that one. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK and go back to layers panel. And that's what we have here is that color tone. Looks amazing. Now what I want to do is select this mask, and I'm going to hide the blur. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to hide the blur layer folder here by selecting that eye. And what I want to do is zoom in here. I need to see to where I can see that umbrella a little bit more. Just want to kind of see what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and hold control, tap the I key on the keyboard. I'm going to invert my selection so I can see this umbrella. Take the B, tap the B key on our keyboard. And let's see, I'm going to right click there. Set this to about 40, I think, or 35. And say about 65 hardness. And what I'm going to do is make sure your foreground is white since we've inverted our selection here, our mask. And I'm going to paint in here, okay? I'm going to paint in the umbrella, the red of the umbrella. Now this is going to be time consuming. But try to get all the red of the umbrella and nothing else outside of the umbrella if you can. It's easier said than done, of course. Check my settings here. I like my spacing about 10 when I'm painting or masking. It helps me have a much finer mask when I'm painting it smoother. Just like so. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not like I'm doing it for a book cover. If I were doing this for a book cover or something, I assure you this would be top notch. But it's a demonstration, and that's all this is. So I'm just going to give you the idea of how to do this, what's going on, and how this technique works. This technique has been done a billion times. All I'm doing is I'm gonna mask this out. I'm gonna have everything in that one color that you've seen me make, and the umbrella is gonna be red. It's just gonna show the red umbrella, and that's a cool effect. It's been done a billion times, like I said, by tons of designers and photographers around the world. Quite famous, still very popular. By the way, I'm clicking one time, holding shift, clicking in another area and click, and that kind of jumps it up a little bit. I only usually do that technique when I'm working on a very straight line and it's a very long or big project. And if it's a straight line, you can click and do that. Saves having to just paint, just click and do something like that. But anyway, so I'm just going to do the outline of my mask. I always do the edge of something when it's large like this. I always just do an outline and then I'll fill it in with a quicker technique instead of uh, painting the entire thing uh, with a brush. I'll show you that technique when I'm done with this. Again, this is very time consuming and just how it goes, but the end result is worth it. It's usually worth it when you do a good project like this. It's all about the effect. And if you paint better from the right to the left or the left to the right or up or down, you can rotate your document by tapping the R key on the keyboard. Let me zoom out here. And that gives us the rotation option here. This allows us to rotate the document. So if I just click and see that right there, allows you to rotate it to have a better control over how you want to brush. Hopefully that's not getting you seasick. If it is, I apologize. You can hold shift and this gives you incremental rotations here. Just wanted to show you that in case you find that much more suitable. Tap the B key again. This allows us to continue working. So if you have a better way, if you paint or use your brush in a certain angle you prefer, that will certainly help out. I'm trying not to let my perfectionist take over, but it is very difficult for me not to have that problem. Again, we're talking about me, so I'm known for being a perfectionist, and it annoys me at times, and it certainly annoys my wife at times as well. Um, doesn't admit it, but she doesn't have to admit it. It's her expression says it all, and I do annoy her with that. I like to have be everything, completely organized. No matter what I do, everything is completely organized out, very well descriptive. So there's no confusion. Confusion for me and doesn't work well. Gets my anxieties up, and I don't do well with that kind of thing. I have pretty bad anxiety attacks. Uh, um, that's just the way I am. But anyway, so we're just gonna go in here, just like I said, and just paint the edge of this umbrella. Super time consuming, but again, it is going to be so worth it when it's done. It's going to look amazing, or at least I hope. Not, then I apologize. Zoom out here. It's really difficult to tell because that shirt is red as well, and it really clashes with that umbrella, the edge of that umbrella. Very difficult to see that depth there, at least for me. Looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, click my rotation, tap the R key and just rotate that back. Go back to hand tool, zoom in here and look at the mask. Because there's some areas that's really bugging me. I can see that already. Way out line here. I'm going to just paint away from that and just repaint that in. Just like so. Again, I shouldn't try to be perfect, but yeah, talking about me here, so not impossible for me not to try to get it as perfect as possible. Instead of having to look at it and be like, ugh, it's missed so much. It's going to be difficult to notice when I do the effect overall. You won't even really notice it. And we're zooming in beyond the point of what a human would see it as anyway up close. I mean, you're not You can, if this was printed out, or you can smush it to your face, you would never see these problems. This little fine mask here, just on the outside, it's really difficult. Uh, thing about designs, a lot of people um, forget that computer isn't going to see half of the designs. It's going to be the human eye, going to be seeing like things that are printed out, like movie posters and stuff. I've seen mistakes even with Hollywood movie posters. For one example, The Oblivion, that movie called The Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Um, it's a phenomenal poster design, I'll admit. He used Cinema 4D, I believe, to create some of the models for the scene of the poster. And if you look at that poster, you will see the lighting in some areas aren't quite right. There's definitely some mistakes in that poster design for sure, but it looks amazing. Also, I'm looking at it with a trained eye. Most people will never notice those issues, and he knew that. But at the same time, he's also human. We make mistakes, even people at the highest level. And trust me, that man's individual is super talented. I've seen his work in the past, and he is great at what he does. He does some really good stuff. So anyway, here's our mask. We've got the outline masked out. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to Alt click on this. Actually, let's tell you what. Let's inverse this selection back, just like so. And I'm going to Alt click on this. And what I'm going to do is tap the W key on the keyboard. This gives us the magic wand tool. And I'm going to click in that white. Okay. Make sure your background, your foreground is white, your background is black, just like so. Hold Control, tap the backspace key. Control D to deselect, and this gives us just this little line to mask out rather than the entire inside. Again, flip your brush around, make sure your foreground is black, and just paint in this right here. All you got to do. That easy. A whole lot quicker than going and doing this whole inside. So what I'm going to do now is Alt click, and now that just reveals our umbrella and nothing else. And that's a pretty cool, like I said, it's a very popular effect. It's been done a billion times, and this was already similar to that anyway. I just wanted to add my own take on it, and I think that looks pretty darn cool. I did have some heavy blur, cuts out a lot of that rain, I noticed, but that's okay. It still looks really cool. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go save my project. Photo, Effect 3. Oops. Click Save. Let's see if it saves. Yes, it does. Cool. Go to File, Save As, JPEG, and click OK. Now I think that turned out pretty well, if you ask me. If we want to, we can merge all these together. Control Alt Shift N key, and then the E key on the keyboard. I'm going to convert that to a smart object. And if we want to, we can go to Filter, Smart Sharpen, and Sharpen and Smart Sharpen. And we can actually have this a little bit more sharper if we wanted to. See my settings I have here. I'm just doing a test, though. I want to see what it'll look like. Zoom in here, disable it, and then enable it. I don't think that's too bad. I just wanted to see what that would look like. So let's set it to about 50% opacity. Zoom in here again. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. Call this Smart Sharpen. Put that in a folder. Just like so. And yeah, I think that looks pretty darn good. And if you don't like it this color, you don't have to have it this color. If you don't like it that strong, you can just turn the opacity down a little bit if you wanted to do that. All up to you. The beauty of designing these types of things, of creating these types of things, you have full control over what you want to do. And I'm going to go ahead and resave this because you can tell I need to save it. I didn't save it since I've added the sharpen. So that should be saved. And there we go. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here because I think it turned out phenomenal. And until next time, I will see you in another video.